Now what I will do, I will create another page for the edit. Okay. So generally when you go live with your real world example, add and edit page are same. Okay. So there is no difference between add and edit page. So we generally write if and else condition to only change the details. Okay, so before going to edit page even, I want to go to the view page, that is the master page. In the master page, I will show all the records which I have in the database. So that is what I am going to do now. I want to show all the records in the database. So first thing which I will do is I will get this parse one. Okay, so we need the parse import statement, and then we will show all the records from the table here in the master page. Okay, so to show the records, let's go to the document and see what we can do. This is the document. So to show the records, we need the queries. It's called the queries. So this is the one way of showing the records. Okay, I'm just checking if we have another. So these are different types of queries which we will be doing it in future. Right now, I don't want you to concentrate everything. I will just show you what is the needed, and then we'll use it. Okay, so so these two statements are common from the add page. So I will take that from the add page, or I will copy it. So where to put this code? Can anyone suggest me where to put this code of getting the record from the server? On this page, where should I put that? This is the master page. Master page will list all the records which we have in the database. So where can I put this code to retrieve the results? Can anyone tell me? Okay, in a function. Okay, but let's say I create a function. Okay, consider a function. Let's say function get records. Okay, I put the information here. Okay, but where will I call this function? Where should I call this function? I put the information which I showed you here, right? This information, I will put it here. Okay, inside this function. That's okay. But where will I call? Detail page is only to show the single one. Here we want to show all. I'm not talking of detail page now. I am talking of only the master page. Master page has list of all the records in my database. It may have pagination also, but today we are not doing pagination. Now where will I call this function? I want to display the records here. I will show you the UI. So this is the master page. Let's copy the UI from the add page. I will copy this part. Okay, and then I will I'll delete some of the stuff. I'm just putting right now everything as it is, but I will delete this form because we don't need the form. So this is my master page. I don't need text feed button. Okay, let's check how the master page looks like. Okay, this is my add page. Let's go to the master page. This is my master page. So I want to display the records here. So to display the records here, I may use the list one. Okay, let's use the list one. Okay, let's use the or I can use the table. Okay, let's use this simple table. Okay, I don't want to use the data grid now. Okay, let's assume I'm thinking which one is good one. Okay, let's use the card. I want single line only. I'm looking which one is the better choice. Okay, yeah, let's use the paper for now. Okay, you think on the question which I asked, where will I call this get record? Get record will have something where I will get the details from the parse server. Now, where should I call the get record? You have to think on that part. Okay, Ashok Kumar has answered it. That's what I was expecting. We should put this get record in the use effect. Okay, so I will create one use effect. We need to call everything in the use effect because whenever the page will load, we need to call only one time this get record. We should not call this again and again. So to call one time, use the effect is the best place to keep it only one time. So when I call this use effect and if I pass empty array in the end, that means this use effect will be called only one time. Okay, when it will be called one time, that means we can call the details only one time on the page load. We don't want to call get record again and again. So instead of writing a separate function, I will write the details inside the use effect only. I will not call another function. But if we feel that this part becomes complicated, I can move that in the get record also. Okay, so I can, if things become complicated, I can put in the get record. So let's keep the get record. It's okay. I can call get records here. Okay, so if want to get data from backend, put the function and the use effect. Yeah, we can put this function inside the get use effect also. Okay, but let's keep this. I can put this get record outside the function also. Okay. Since this get record is not dependent on this one, then we can keep it outside also. But if you feel that this get record is dependent on this component, then we have to move that here. Okay, right now I'll put it here and we will see if it is not used by this component, then I can move it outside also. But I have one more question to ask. Now once I get the record, okay, once I get the data from the server, how will I show that on the page? Okay, so I call the get record and I get the okay, I get the record, I call the record, and now I want to show that on the page. How will I do that? Let's say this get record has some variable called as data, and here I'm getting the whole data array of all the records. How will I show this data on the page? Okay, let me answer one by one. Map. Okay, so data is inside this use effect. I cannot access this data in this component directly. So I cannot use map on the data. Use promise. Okay, so always whenever we will call this one, this is always a promise. Okay, so after the promise is done, we get this data. And now the question is, how will I display this data on the page? Set state. So we need to use some state so that whenever we get the data, we should update that state and then we have to display that state on the page. So maybe I will name it as state and the set state here. So I will update the set state here. So in the state, I may create some key value pair. For example, I will say results. And this will be kind of, right now I'll put null. But when some data will come, I will update the results with that data. Okay. Next, assign some state variable. Right. So we need to use the state. So now let's get the data first, and then we will update the state. And in the state, I may create many other variables which can be used on the page. So I created this as an object, and one of the object is results, which we will get from the backend. So let's get it. So first line is we need to call the pass.object.extend. Okay, so we need to call this one. So let me write down so that you can remember. So in the get records, I will call constant. I can name anything. I will name, maybe it's my, let me see what is the name of the table. It's test1. So I will name test1 is equal to new, no, not new, parts.object.extend, and I'll put the table name test1. So this is what it's showing here in the document. We have to pass.object.extend and give the table name. Next step is we have to create a query. It is pass.query with the table, with the variable which we have created here is to be given here. The next line will be constant query equal to new pass.query, and I will give the test1 which is created here. This one is this one. This is the name of the table. This is the one which I pass it here. Okay, it's saying limit, how many records you want to limit per page. Right now we are not doing pagination, so I am not concerned about this line of the statement. I'll directly go here, find. Let's go here. And this is the promise. I can use async and await, or I can use the then statement. Right now I'll use the then statement and see what will happen. When I say find, I can use then, and I can also use catch. And in the then, I will write some function, and in the catch, I will write down some function. In the then, we will get the records in the data, and I want to see how it comes. So I'll do console.log, data is data. And in the catch, we will get error. So I want to see how it looks. So I'll do console.log, error is error. Okay. So now let's see how it works. Let's check it. So I'm getting some error. So maybe let's see what is the error. So there is problem in this statement, okay, in this line of statement. So we get pass.query. We have the problem here. So capital Q, it will come capital Q. I have written small letter q. That may be the reason. Okay, let's change it to capital Q. Okay, now let's go again. Okay, now in the console we will see we have 4 records as we see here in the database. We have 4 records. So I am able to see 4 records here. And in each record, if I go in attributes, I can see what is the title and what is the description. Since this is the master page, I don't need to show the description on this page. I will only show the title on this page. When user will click that record, that is this one, whatever title is there, then we will go to the detail page where we will show title and description both. That is what master and detail page means. Okay. So we got this data. Now I will update the state with this data. So let me update the state with this data. Once I get this data, I will say set state, and this is an arrow function with st. St is nothing but the whatever we have currently in the state will come here in the st, and in the state I will return. So always state is done like this way. I will take the st, that is whatever st we have, whatever object we have, that is the st. I will return the st, and I will update the results part with the data which is coming from the server. And here I'll do console.log data is data. So what I'm doing, I'm creating the query, and then I'm calling the find method. Find method is the promise. So we have to use then, and in the then we will get all the data from the server. Once I get the data from the server, I update the state. How I update the state? I will take the previous state and I update with the new value. That is what I will do here. Okay, let's try to display the state variable so you can see it. So right, initially state as results null, and then after data is there, we get the state as the results of all the 4 records. Okay, we get all the 4 records. Now I want to display all these 4 records here on this page. I will give some styling so that there is gap. Okay. Okay, so I'm displaying right now only record 1, but I have to display from the state. So this is the state variable, and this is the get query, which is called in the use effect. It is only called once on the page load, and we call this 2-liner statements because in the document we see how to get the records in the pass server, and this is the way to get the record from the pass server. We do the extend, and then we do the query.pass.query, and then we query it with it. Once I get the data, I update the state. That is what. Any questions on this part? Okay, so if we go here, I have another method. If I call this, I will also get the count, how many records I have in the database. So let's use this also before I tell you to write it. So before I call the query.find, I will call this method query.withCount, and I will right now I will make it comment this state so that I want to first see what data is coming here. So previously I was not using query.count, so I was getting whole data in the array format, and I was updating that array here. Now if I'm using query with count, let's see what happens. So now I'm getting from the server two things. One is the count, how many records are there. If you see, we have 4 records. So I see the count equal to 4. And the results. Results will get all the data in an array format. So if we are using with count, I cannot update results with the data because I want to update the results with only the array value, that is only with this part. Okay, so what I will do, I will say results is equal to what? What should I change here? I want to only take this part. So what should I change here so that I can get only this part? Right now I'm getting count and results. Can anyone tell me what should I change here so that I get only the array part? Right, Ashok Kumar has given the right answer. Since data is coming now with the count and results, so if we want to only get the results from the data, so I will say data dot results, which will give me the array part. And I will also put one more state variable called as count. Initially it will be 0, and once the data will come, I will also update the count by saying count is equal to data dot count. So now if I see the state variable is count is 4, and in the results we get all the 4 records. Is this part clear? Now we are using the parse server. Let's say tomorrow your company is not using the parse server. Your company is using different backend method. So this part will be changed, which will be some API call. This part will be some API call, but it will also return a promise. So this part will be the same. And this part, your backend developer will give you what API they are using. So we have to use that part. So even if we are not using parse, this part will remain same. Even if it is MySQL, MongoDB, or Java, some backend, only this part will change. Right now we are using parse, but in your company it may be different. Okay, so right now you just work with the parse server because parse server is very advanced compared to all other database, and it gives us too much functionalities which other database we have to build it. Okay, so it is better to go with and learn with the parse now. Now I put results and count as a two thing. Is there any way I could have merged both and I would have written only one thing instead of putting these two key value pair? Can anyone tell me, is there any way I can put only one thing and I would have got both the things? Right now we have key value pair and key value pair. Is there any way I could have only written one part and both part would have been included in that? Okay, let's say if I put results equal to data. Someone has suggested results as data. Let's see what will happen. If I refresh the page, you will see state is having count of 0 and results is having again count of 0. Okay, results is having again the count of 4 and results separately. I don't want this count inside the results. Count should be outside like this, like previously. If I put results equal to data, then whole data object will be inside the results and we will get count separate, and in the results we have another results and we have the count. So this results dot data will not work. Any other way you can think of? Yes, that is what I was expecting. Rakesh has given the right answer. So instead of writing these two lines of the code, I'll copy it and I'll comment one line. Instead of putting these two, I could have directly written, since data is the object now, I could have written dot 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 data. Then what it would have done, it would have merged results and count from the state variable to the new results and count, updated value of results and count. So let's check that one. So now state is having results and count, which was expected before as before. So instead of putting two things, I wrote only dot 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 data. And this is only possible because data is object and state variable is also object. If I remove this part, then data will come as an array and then this will not work as expected. I will refresh it. So you will see now state is giving me no results but 0, 1, 2, 3 as it is, but results are gone. So this one is not expected. Now if I put with count, I get the data as an object and now it will work properly as expected. Now I will get results and count separately, which is expected, which I want. So I'll delete this second part, I don't need it. I'll delete this data console also. We will talk about error later. We don't care about error because right now we are going with good cases and this is one of the good case is there. We have to think of the error when we go with some bad cases. Now I have to display all the results in the page here. Okay, so first thing I will display the count. So I will say, I will put here another div and I will say total records found. How many records? I will say state.count. So here it's saying total records found 4. Okay, now this I have to loop it. Okay, I will show you how to loop it. I have already shown before also, but I will show you now also. Now before going further, just create one page or you have already created master page. Try to put these details there and then we will go ahead. So I will only give you this part in the chat, in the Telegram chat. And rest of the things you have to write it yourself. So first write down this state variable. And once you are done, then write down this use effect part. And once it is done, we will go further. I'll give you 5 minutes to finish this too. I give the import statements in the chat. Okay. In 5 minutes, I'll go further. Is it done? Okay, so now just write down this part. Okay, this part. Maybe I will give you this part in the chat because nothing much is there. So I'll put in the Telegram chat. You can get it from there. Okay, now we have to display all the records. So I will loop through around this one. And now everybody know how to loop it. We need to loop with map. So here I have to first check if record, if I have something in the results. So how will I check? I will say state dot results. That means if something I have in the state, okay, if I have something in the results, and then I will also put end condition and I will say state dot results dot length. It is array and it should be greater than 0. That means something is there. If something is there, then only I will show this part. Okay, and then I will say state dot results dot map. Once I get results and results is greater than 0, length is greater than 0, I will loop through the results and display this part. So I will put this part inside the map. Map is an arrow function and we have to put this inside this arrow function. Here I will say return this paper part. So it's checking if results is there, if results is greater than 0, and then we loop it. Map means looping through the array. Then we map through the each record. And here I will pass as a record, which record I want to map. And here I will see what is the record coming as. Let's check this one. I'll refresh it. Don't worry about this warning, I will fix it. But each record is displayed separately, and in each record there is attributes, and inside attributes we have title and description, which I want to display here. I want to display here only the title. Okay, what I want to display? Only the title. So let's do that. So if you see, record has ID, that is unique ID. So for the key part, I have to put the key also, because whenever we loop the array in the React, we have to give the key. Key will be record.id. So because each record have unique ID, I will put record as a record ID. And here I want to display the title. So how to display the title? We have title in the attributes one, we have title inside the attributes part of this object. Now let's see in the document how to display that one. Let me check. Data types, retrieving objects. Okay, so here it is explaining if we want to display any field, once we get the record, we have to use .get and the field name. This is how we have to retrieve. So if I want to retrieve title here, I will go to record, that is this record, and I will say .get, and I will give the name of the field which I want to display it. For ID part, I don't want to use the get part. Only all the fields I need to use this get record.get. For ID, I am directly using this object .id. For all other fields, I am going to take this one, record.get title. Okay, let's check now. So this is the title which I am getting. Okay, if I want to add more, I will add more here. Let's say mango. banana, banana. Now I'll go to master page. Now you will see 6 records and mango and banana is here. Let me give some padding also. So I'll get this record here like this. Okay, so before I go further, you can copy this part and then we'll go further. Okay, is it done? Okay. So now I'm not putting more stress on on the looks of this part, because this looks right now I just gave some simple looks kind of thing, but I will be creating 2-3 layouts when we'll go to other projects for the master page and for the detail page, and I'll show you those 2-3 layouts which we will do. Right now I just want to show you that how to show the records and how to show the add record, edit record, delete record, but that's what. Okay. So now here I want to give user the permission to edit. So I'll give edit part and delete part. Okay. So here I have to give the edit and delete one. So once user click the edit link, we will go to edit page, and if it is delete, I'll go to delete link and delete the record. So let's go to edit page. Now how to go to edit page? I have to create the edit routing and edit page also, and then I will create this part as a link to go there. So let's go and see if my routing has edit part or not. So right now I have add part, but I have the edit part, but it is going to create page. So let's use this edit route, but instead of create, I will create another page called as edit. In the practical world, when I go for the real-time project, my add and edit page will be same. But now to teach you, I want to keep it separate. So let me call the edit component. And I call this edit one, and I'm going here. When I'm passing colon ID, that means this ID will be the unique, this will be the string after the edit in the URL. And it is different for different records, and that is the reason we pass dynamic ID in the URL to get that ID. So let's go to the edit page. So we are done with the master page. We just want to link to edit and delete. And we did this query part also. Now we are trying to do the edit page. If you see this, VH means it takes the whole page. It is the visually whatever you see, it takes the whole page. If I put pixel, then it will only 100 pixel, which is very small. So generally the box height, generally this nowadays people think that height as the whole page height, so they put VH. Or if you remove this part, it's also okay. Let's see if I remove this one. What changes? View height, right? So even if I remove, I can see the whole page. So even if you remove, that's fine. Okay, so let's go to the edit one, and edit. I will create edit RFCE. Okay, so we are in the edit page. So when I go click the edit one, I should go to edit one here. So there are a couple of ways I can call the edit page, but the old way is we use the A tag. But A tag has some problem. In future, I will change it to some different one which React uses. Right now, I will only show you edit AH reference for now. But in practical world, we don't use A tag. I will show you what we use after some time. It's a link tag, right? But right now, I will put only A tag. Okay. RFCE, and I press enter. And you need this extension, this one, to make it work. It's called EA7 React Redux by DJ Najder. You need this extension, then only it will work. Okay, so right now I'll use A tag, but later on I will change it to link tag, which is the best way to use it when we use any link. But since link tag, I haven't shown you link tag, that's why I'm using the A tag. And where I have to go? I have to go to edit page, and then I have to pass this ID, because each record will have different ID. So how will I how will I put ID here? Can anyone tell me? How can I construct ID here? So generally, to construct the ID here, I can construct it here. Const ID equal to, here I can say slash edit slash, and here I can give rec.id. This is the one way. Another way is using the backtick like this. Here I will say slash edit slash, and if there is variable, I will start with dollar curly bracket and I put rec.id. So this is the one way of putting the text and ID together. Or this is the another way. You create a variable at the top using the concatenation operator and use the ID here. So this is something you put the backtick. It is near to the 1 in the keyboard. On the left side of the 1 in the keyboard, you put backtick start and end. Then you put some string. Whenever you want to put variable, you put like this $rec.id. Either you can use this one ID or you can use this method. So let's use this method. Both are okay. So whenever I click the edit one, it will go to this URL. I go to this here. So it is going to edit page like this one. And if I click second one, it is also going edit page with different ID. If I go here, it's going to edit page with the different ID. Okay, so before we go further, just click this, make this link. Okay, make this link in 1 minute and then I'll show you how to go to edit page. Just make this link. I hope everyone has completed this part. Let's go to the edit page. So today the class is a little bigger because I want to show you so many things. So when I click edit link, it will go to edit page. Now here I want to see what is the ID? What is this ID? Because if I get this ID, then only I will go to the database. I'll go to database with that ID and grab the details, grab the records and show it to the user. Okay, so I want this ID. So let's get the ID. And to get the ID, can anyone tell me how can I get the ID from the URL? So query params, how will you take the query params? Okay, I got the answer. I want to see how will you get through query params. Okay, here I will get the props, and if I try to see the props, let's see what are the props. So in the props, we have history, location, match, and static context, we'll go to the match. Inside match, we have the params. Inside params, we have the ID. So we have to take this ID inside the match params and ID. So if I want to get at the ID, I will say constant ID equal to props dot match dot params dot ID, and then I can print that ID also. Let's see now what ID. So I'm getting ID different one. If I go to another record, I'll getting ID different ID. Can anyone tell me how can I use this big structure to destructure it? So for example, I mean that here I'll put curly bracket. I want ID directly here in this parameter. So to get the ID, I will just give you first an idea. Okay, forget about that. That is little complicated. I will not go now to that one. Okay, so this is the simplest way to get it. Okay, now once I get the ID, what is the next step I have to do? Right. Ashok Kumar is right. Make a call with the ID. Now I have to call the database with this ID to get the details of this ID. So we need to call the database to get the details of that ID. If I'm passing this ID, I want the details of that ID. If I pass this ID, I want details of that ID. So we need to make a call to the database to get the ID. We have seen how to get all the records from the database using these queries, right? We just now saw to get all. Now if I want to get only one record with the ID, I can use another method. I will show you that one. Okay, so this is the method. First two lines is the same what we did, but in the last, instead of using the find, I can directly call the query.get. So we can, two lines are same, only the last line is different, query.get. If we want only directly, we want to get the record using the ID. So I will copy the, okay. So we need to call this backend call in where we have to call in the use effect as we did in the master. And in the use effect, I will call the arrow function, and second parameter will be empty array bracket, and here I will call the get results. So how will I call? I will directly say, here I'm not creating any function, I'm directly calling these two lines. So I call these two lines, and in the last line I can say query.get, and I'll pass the ID. What is the ID? ID is this one. And then I'll say dot then, because this is a promise. And I'll say dot catch. In the dot then, I will get the data. And in the catch, I will get the error. Here I'll get the data. And it's asking parse is not defined, so we have to call the parse here. Now if I see here, okay, the warning is coming, forget about warning right now, we will fix it. Now data is coming, data is only, I'm getting one record for that ID. This is the ID passed in the URL, I'm getting that ID. If I change the ID, then I'll get the data for that ID. See in the URL and this one. Now if you see the warning, here I am getting this warning, use effect has missing dependency ID. Since I am using ID inside the use effect, so it gives me warning that this ID is used inside the use effect, but it should pass as a dependency in this array. So where we have the second part of the array, we need to pass this ID also, so that this React use effect knows what parameter I am passing inside this use effect. Once I pass ID, you will see warning is gone. Here also on the page, warning is gone. I get directly data. Now I want to see this. Okay, I'm getting this record, okay, for this ID. If I change the ID, I'm getting another record. Now I will copy all the form elements from the add page, because this is the same form which I want to use for edit. So I'll just copy that form. And I will copy also this top, top import statements. Okay, also I have to copy this state variable. Same thing, most of the things will be the same. I have to copy the state value. I have to copy the handle change part and handle submit part, but we will change the handle submit part in a bit. Okay, I will change the submit part bit. So this submit part has to be changed. Okay, now let me see how it looks. So this is my edit page. I'm getting the title and description and submit button. So let's change the title of this page to edit record. So edit. Now I want to pre-fill with the title and description. When I click, for example, if I click mango, I should pre-fill it with the title and description what I have in the database, because I want to edit that record. So to pre-fill it, first I want to save this data in the state. And the state has already title and description. So I need to save the title and description part so that I can use it on the page. So once we get this data, I will try to update the state. I'll say state. Here I will put arrow function and I'll pass st. St is nothing but the current state. And then I will say return .st, and here I will say title is equal to, I will get the data. To extract the title, we already know we have to use this statement like this, rect.get.title. Here we have data, so I will take it as data.get title, and I will also get the description. Description is data.get description. So once we get the data from the server, I update the state variables, and once the state variable is updated, we can see that in the form, because form is using the state values. So it will automatically get the data from the server. If I refresh it now, you will see I'm getting mango and this mango. So if I want to change this to different one, mango is here, and then I have to submit it to update the data. But right now I haven't written a code to update it. This is the code to save it. Okay, so we need to update it. So we need to change this code to update it. So before I change this to update it, you first copy all the content of the ad in the edit. So just maybe take all Control C, Control A, Control C, then put it in the edit. Rename it the edit to edit, because if you copy from add, it will be add. Rename it to edit. And once you're done with that one, just add this line of statement, this ID part, this props and ID part, and then you need to write this function, use effect function. So finish that, then we will move further to fix this handle submit part. Okay, so just I will open in two tab so you can copy it. So just first copy from add and then change these two lines. Also you can write on this effect, use effect part. Just finish that in 2 minutes, then we'll go further. Let me know when you are done. Okay, since one is done, I assume everyone is done. And if you're not done, you can do it after the class. I'll give you the file also. Now the thing is that whole page is now good. Only thing is handle submit. Handle submit part is not good because in handle submit we are creating it now. Right? See, it is created. We are not updating it. Now so to update it, so only change which we have to do is here we create a new post. Here the change we have to do is post.id equal to id. This id is nothing but the id which we created, which we got from the URL. We have to say post.id equal to this id. When we say post.id equal to id, it will update this id only. It will not create the record. Previously we were not passing id, so it was creating it. But when we want to edit it, we just want to pass this post.id as this one. Then this user who posted it is only one time. Second time we don't want to update the user because user is logged in user only will update it. So we don't need to pass this part. ACL is also already defined when creation. We don't need it in the update unless you want to change it. But right now generally we don't need it. And once data is saved, rest everything will remain same. Here only I will say updated successfully. And instead of emptying the content, I will just redirect it to master page. So to redirect it, we can use profs dot history dot push, and here I have to give the URL of the master page, that is /master. So what can we did in the update? We put this ID and we deleted the user part, we deleted the ACL part, and we would move the user to the master page so that he can edit other records. Okay, we'll test the condition and see if everything is working. Okay, I get this mango record. I will change this. Mango is here. Okay, now when I submit it, it's saying submitting, then data updated successfully, and we get it here. When I try to edit it, I will see the updated record. Let's try to change it to 1, 2. Then I get a 1, 2. Let's change this to capital B. And this 1, 2, 2, 3. So here it became capital, and when I try to edit it, it's 2, 3. So we are not able to update it. Okay, so just to fix this last part, what you will do, just put this part and delete the user and ACL and just change the last line of the this one. Okay, instead of state, we will redirect it to the master page. Do it in 1 minute. Okay, so I hope everyone has done this part and this part. Now since we are here, I'll take few minutes to complete the delete part and the detailed part. It is few minutes of job. So like I created this A tag for edit, I will do same thing for delete. Okay, so sorry. I will put delete page here, and apply same thing record ID, which record I want to delete it, and I'll copy everything right now from edit page to the delete page. Then I'll change only the name of the component. So if I don't change the name of component, will it work or will it not work? If instead of delete, I will keep edit only. Ashok is saying no. What are the answer from others? Ola is saying it will work. Shweta, no. So generally, since this delete or edit is going by default, so even if you keep it edit, it will work, because default means whatever your pass, it will go, it will change it to whatever you are calling it. So for example, in the my routing, I'm calling it as edit. So whatever default will come from this edit page will be assigned as edit. So we don't need to worry about it. So even if I keep it edit here, it will work. It will not show duplicate components. Okay, it will work. I will show you. Edit. If I keep edit also, it will work. I'll show you that. Let's keep this edit. Though this is a delete page. Okay, I'm keeping it edit for you to see how it's working. So this ID part will remain same, state part will remain same. Since in the delete we will not change any of the content, so we don't need handle change. Submit part will remain there because we need to delete the record using the handle submit. Okay, and when I go, this use effect part will remain same because we need to get the data which I want to delete it. So this part will be there. And we don't need the text form element because we are not updating anything. Okay, we need form element, but we don't need text element. So instead of text element, we will just display the title. Okay, and for this also, I will display the description. I don't need the text field because we are not editing the text field. We are just showing the title and description, and we are deleting it. And for the submit button, I will say delete this record. Okay, I'll just mention in the button delete this record. Okay, I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so what we did, we deleted the text field and we renamed it to delete record, delete this record, and this part is same. State is also just I keep the to see what is there in the state one. This handle submit part will be changed. I don't need this text field, I'll delete it. Okay, so here I will say deleting, and let's see how to delete it. Okay, so let's go to the documentation first to see the delete part. So this is the way to destroy the object or delete the object. So we need to use the destroy keyword to delete the object. So what we will do, okay, so after I get this ID, I will just say, instead of save, I will say destroy. And this I will delete because we are not updating it. We are deleting it. And I don't need this data part. I will say deleted successfully and I push it to the master page. Rest everything will remain same. So what change we did? This is the same, this is same. We only change the handle submit where I got destroy instead of the save. And I removed all the text field. I just put it the directly title and the description value. Okay, now let's test this condition. So I'll refresh. So let's try to delete this part for DFTF. I'll click delete. So I'm in the delete record page. I show the title description. Though we can have something here that is, this is the title, this is the description. And once I click delete this record, it will delete it. So you will say deleting, delete successfully, and we got this deleted. This is another DFDFD. Let's delete this also. So we deleted that also. So we are deleting all the records. Okay, now we got total 0 records. Let's check here. We got everything gone. It's a 0 records. So delete is similar to the edit one. Just we removed some fields and we updated it. Since you have done it, and since you have done it, so no need to write down. I will give you this file, and you will see edit is working fine. Though it is a delete page, edit is working fine. But now, right now, for the namesake, I will change it to delete. Okay, and now I want to do the detail page. So detail page will look like delete only, but it will not have the thing button to delete it. So I will copy this page, copy this content of delete, and I will give you in the chat also. I will create a, I will put it in the help file which I created, but I will give you in the Telegram group also. So I'll copy this everything, put it in the detail page, rename it to detail. I get the ID of detail page. I don't need the submit page because detail is only to view it. But I need this part because we need to get the data from the server when we load the page. We don't need this form. Form is only needed to edit or delete. And here I may say title is here. This is the title and this is the description, so that I know what is this. I should know what is this. Maybe I can wrap in the strong tag. Okay, so every detail record. Okay, I don't need this button because we are not deleting in the detail page. We are just viewing it. I'll delete the button. Okay, and everything is same. Let's try to go to master page and give the link. So I will give the link like edit. I will give the link of detail 1. And here I say detail. So it will go to detail page. Let's check that condition. Let's check that in the browser. Okay, I don't have any record. Let's go to add some record. I'll submit it. Let's go to master page. So I'll see one record. I can edit it. I can delete it. And then I want to see detail. I will click this one to go to detail page. This is the detail page where I will see all the key value pair which I want to see. So when other users will come, they won't be able to edit and delete because this is created by me. So we need to restrict the permission of edit and delete for other users. But that part we are not doing now. But other people can view the record. So this is the part which other people can view it. So they cannot edit, they cannot delete, only I can edit and delete. To let them view, I should be able to give permission of view to others, but edit and delete should be only done by me. No one should be able to do that. Okay. So before I go further, okay, so okay, that's all for this one. I will put these pages on that website which I have. If you don't know the website, I will open that website here again. Here, project master. I will update all the pages here in this page. I'll give you the link. And then you go through this, all the record, and see if it is working for you. And if it is working, then good. But if it is not working, then you have to ask me tomorrow your problem and how to fix that one. Is that clear?